Cruisin' 92.1 is WVLT Vineland, serving the Delaware Valley with the best music and the best talk.
Hey, little Cobra, don't you know you're gonna shut 'em down? I took my Cobra down to the track, hitched to the back of my Cadillac. Everyone was there just waiting for me. There were plenty of stingrays and XKs.
Caller on the air. Is this Dustin?
Yes, it is. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I am great.
That's good. How's I'm going to first off say how's the weather down where you're at, because you're down in the D.C. area, correct?
Correct. Just outside on the Virginia side, actually. It's actually doing pretty well. We had a little rainstorm when I got back from the weekend, but it's not too bad. It's not as hot as it was up in Jersey this weekend. That's for sure.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right. You were down, or I should say up in Jersey, from where you're at with the F1000 series.
That's correct. The North American Formula 1000 Championship, presented by American Racer Tire.
American Racer Tire. That's good. Now, can you explain something? First off, I have J.D. King in the studio with me.
Hey, Dustin, how's it going?
He is a...
doing great. How are you doing, J.D.?
Good, man. I'm sorry we didn't get a chance to shoot the breeze over the weekend. I was a busy guy running around doing all my chairman stuff, but you guys had a great event, I see.
We try, yeah. I understand being busy over the weekend, trying to do multiple hats and multiple things is always fun. I'm sure race weekends are the same for you as they are for me. Yeah, we had a great time. We gave away a lot of random awards. We gave away a lot of money, and drivers had a great time. We had a lot of good racing, and everybody seemed to enjoy the weekend.
Yeah, I saw your setup over there. Were you guys giving away prizes and contingencies and stuff there?
Absolutely. In the North American Formula 1000 Championship, every driver wins money, and we make sure of that with not only with appearance money and race purses, but also with random drawing awards. Every Friday night, we have a social where we have dinner. All the drivers get together and kind of hang out for the night. We have a little random drawing where we give away tires, money, different random discounts from different places like Taylor Race Engineering, Youngblood Wheels, people like that.
That's awesome. That definitely brings guys out, gives them an incentive to show up and participate in the fun.
It definitely gets people to come out when you kind of just give a little back, and racing gets so expensive, and that's what we just try to mitigate some of those costs as much as we can.
Right. One
of the benefits of the American Racer tires is actually they're a little less expensive than most of the competition, and they seem to, at this point, after a year of development, they've turned out to be actually a faster tire than anything else we've seen so far.
Wow. Can you explain what type of a car the F1000 is?
Yeah, the Formula 1000 is an open-wheel, single-seat Formula car. They have 1,000cc motorcycle engines, and they weigh 1,000 pounds with the driver. They have 6-speed sequential gearboxes, fully adjustable wings, suspension, brakes, all of that, creating speeds in excess of 170 miles per hour, beyond 3 Gs in the corners and under braking. It's, with the relative low cost of purchasing and buying the cars, it's become the fastest-growing open-wheel series worldwide. There's professional series in Europe, Australia, China, Italy, and many more.
I could see why, going 170 mile an hour. Those motorcycle engines must have some horsepower.
They do. They're creating about 175. Some guys can tweak them a little higher depending on how high you're willing to rev them. About 13,000 RPM seems to be about the safe point. Some guys want to crank it up to about 15 to get a few extra horsepower, but they don't seem to be able to last as long. If you rev them about 13, they can usually run a full season without having to do any kind of work on them.
How are they creating 3 Gs in the corners?
Well, with the cars only weighing 1,000 pounds with the driver, and with the wings and the suspension and everything the cars are going through, they're rocket sleds is really what it comes down to. They're flying around the track.
So they stick to
a lot of the tracks they've come to, they're the fastest cars on the track.
They stick to the ground like a old slot car with magnet traction, huh?
That's pretty much the way they look sometimes going through the corners. It's really amazing, and with the low center of gravity they can get with the motorcycle engines and the cars weighing as little as they do, it really works out.
Well,
and it's definitely the fastest racing value per dollar in road racing in the world today.
It's all ground effect, so it's the
downforce.
Yeah, the downforce is what keeps
They
it
do
tight
have
to
flat
the road.
They don't have full ground effect, but they do have a diffuser on the back, and we do have the wings that help out with that.
Right. Now I know. Now there's different configurations to the car. I mean, I've seen, like, I'm going to use the example of Alex's car, Alex Mayer's car, is low and long versus the other ones are more look like a standard
Like a
an
Formula car or a
Formula
Formula
car,
One type
yeah,
of car?
yeah.
Yeah.
Like the, like he's
Well,
got the wing underneath in the front.
9 different manufacturers in the North American Formula 1000 Championship. So there's definitely different ways to go about it. A lot of different engineers have different ideas on what makes the best race car. And however, it's interesting to say that one of them is long and low and the others are tall. The cars are almost all the same length. It's just the different heights and widths make them look a little differently and make Alex's car look a lot longer than it actually really is.
It's the paint job, I know.
Well, that
Yes,
means that the
slick
car.
paint job does help on the 77.
Well, he's got like he's got the wing underneath the front nose, versus the other ones have it on the point.
Yes, Alex has the JDR, and it has a different way on the front wing there. Some of the guys, most Formula cars have the little flaps on the edges, and they decided to put theirs kind of underneath the nose.
Right.
And I'm not really sure what the effects on that. You'd have to talk to the people that designed that car and the engineer to find out what the reasoning behind that. But it definitely looks pretty cool. I can tell you that much.
Oh yeah, looks cool going down a track too. I'll tell you.
Yeah, I always enjoyed that about Formula cars because the name implies that there's a formula that the car is built on. So for that car, they give you a parameter. It could be this long, this wide, it can weigh this much, and it has to use this kind of an engine. And are you limited too on the brakes and that kind of stuff that you can use?
There is a rules package designed to keep everything relatively the same. Now you can use different manufacturers. Some guys have Willwood, some guys have PFC, but they're all relatively the same size and dimension. Yes.
Yeah, that's fun. That sounds like a good time.
So
And they sure look like they were having a ball.
Car, you can choose different manufacturers for everything. It's definitely not a spec series. Everything is fully interchangeable with different manufacturers to compete in the series.
Oh, okay, great. That was my next question, if it was spec or not. But it's.
Oh no, we have 9 different manufacturers. There's multiple engines available. Suzuki is the most powerful engine, but there's Kawasaki's, BMW's, Aprilia, Yamaha that you can use as well.
Wow.
Yeah, that competition though, sometimes that drives prices up, right? So how do they keep that from happening? I know, like in Formula One, they complain because over the years they just the advancement of the technologies and trying to squeeze every inch out of the rules, it just drives the cost through the roof. How do you keep that from happening in the Formula 1000 series?
Well, one of the things that's kind of nice is that because the class is designed to be a simple Formula car with the motorcycle engine, a lot of guys are purchasing older cars that were racing in other classes, such as Formula Continental, that they can convert into one of these cars. So there are guys with cars that were built in the 90s that are still out that are racing Formula 1000.
Wow.
Competing with cars that were built last year.
All right. Well,
definitely not something you have to have a brand new car to compete with.
That opens up the availability to race in a series in that class.
Definitely.
Right. Okay.
As we know, motorcycles tend to, especially the sport bikes, which the 1000 cc's are, they tend to crash a lot on the street anyway. So there's always seems to be a relative new batch of engines available for purchase for the cars.
Yeah, where do you go for those anyway? Is there like a really good motorcycle junkyard? I know there used to be a huge one down there in the D.C. area somewhere.
I'm not exactly sure on where these guys pick them up. I know there's a couple different engine manufacturers around the country. There's Moon Supercycle in St. Louis and Georgia Dean Racing Engines out in Washington that kind of do a little buff and shine, if you will, on the engines for these guys when they pull them off the junkyard before they stick them in these cars. But yeah, it seems like the sport bike guys put about maybe 1,000 miles on them and lay them down, and then they just kind of junk the whole bike and buy a new one.
Wow.
So what do they do? I mean,
easily.
Do they take those engines apart, blueprint them, and balance them and make sure that they're ready to go, or do they pretty much just run them stock?
It depends on what level of you really want to get into it. There are guys that are competing with a fully stock engine. Now, you can't fully blueprint an engine. You can't do all kinds of crazy bells and whistles with stuff. They do have lots of limits to keep it inexpensive. But you can play with the fuel mapping and things like that.
Oh, wow. Now when you race, is it strictly amateur racing, or is there some pro involved in this series?
This is what I would consider to be on that semi-professional level. Most of the guys do have day jobs they go to that have to work, and they come there to the racetrack as a weekend fun. There are a few guys that definitely have professional aspirations, and we do pay out money. So I guess it does qualify as kind of a professional series because we do pay money. But at the same time, like I said, it's definitely more of a camaraderie, friendly atmosphere.
Right. And then
you don't have that hard competition where nobody really wants to even talk to each other, which you get in a
Right.
lot of professional racing.
Well, yeah, okay, but now you have points within the group or the series, and then at the end of the year you have a point, all through season you have a points race.
I'm sorry. What was
You have points, trophies at the end of the year.
Oh, absolutely. The series is going to give out over $7,500 in cash at the end of the year for our different winners, and the championship winner is looking like they're going to get well over $2,500 in cash for winning the championship.
Wow,
So there's lots of money available for these guys.
Well, that's good because
win and take home.
that'll keep the team going.
How many races are typically?
Absolutely. We've been giving away over $4,000 in cash and prizes almost every weekend through the year, and we're looking like we're trying to get to that 10,000 mark for the championship week, and to try and make that cost of racing a little less for as many people as we can.
Is that you putting all this together, Dustin?
This is a driver-organized, driver-run series. A couple of the drivers got together and decided that they wanted a place to go race together where they could have good competition and good fun, and they vote on everything. They vote on where to race. They vote on the rules packages. They vote on everything, how much money to give away, and I'm just the promoter. I'm here to help them look good and help MC the events and shoot some video and do social media marketing.
You might have said it already and I missed it, but how many races are in this series this year?
This is the inaugural season. This is an 11 race series. We've had 10 rounds so far, and the final race will be on September 30th in Indianapolis.
No kidding. Is that at the runoffs?
Yes, sir. That's correct. Well, we're combining the event to give our boys a chance to kind of, again, save a little bit of a cost.
So that's Saturday. What time?
Wanted to go to the runoffs this year, especially since it's in Indianapolis. So instead of having to have two championship events, combine the races and go to the runoffs for one big show to race in the tracks of the Grand Prix cars.
Good. What time's your race going to be that day? Do you know?
They have not released a schedule yet. I'm not sure, but you can always check that. We will have the schedule posted on our Facebook page. We are NAF1000 on Facebook, and all other social media, including Instagram, YouTube, and Drive Tribe. We're North Am F1000.
So you said
website
NAF1000?
Yes, NAF as in North American Formula
1000.
1000.com.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, Max is racing that day. My son, he's racing a Gen 3 spec racer, so it'll be, that's the same day. So hopefully I'll be able to catch your race too.
Yeah.
Now, is this strictly SCCA events, or do you run other
Sanctioning bodies?
sanctioning bodies?
This season, it was solely SCCA majors events, and again, it was based on what the drivers wanted to do, where they wanted to race. And that, again, will determine next year's schedule based off of the drivers where they want to go. There's some talk about maybe running some pro races with other professional series on bigger weekends, but we're still discussing the logistics of that.
No, like a supporting race,
Mm-hmm.
and
a
it's not
Saturday
bad.
morning race on a
Yeah.
Trans Am weekend or
Yeah.
next weekend would be nice for the series.
Be also to sneak in with an IndyCar weekend. That'd be awesome.
That would be amazing. The Challenge Cup series for the Formula V's is a support race at Pocono for the Indy cars. So
Yeah,
I
that's
think
right. We
should be able to get in there.
Show those guys how it's done.
Yeah, you know it. Do you know Dean Curtis at all?
I do. I used to race V's back a long time ago and in my previous life, and I know those guys pretty well.
Oh, yeah, what a great group of guys.
I haven't spoken to them in over a decade, but I need to get back in touch as soon as possible.
Wow.
Yeah, he knows. He knows the people to ask, I guess.
Absolutely, yeah.
Now, I don't know if you had asked, because we're really going through this, and it's fascinating, and I'm in awe how you guys are doing this. But what are some of the tracks that you've been running on, and what you expect to run on?
Pardon me. Pardon me.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I know. After this weekend, I'm surprised everybody's breathing.
Still dehydrated.
Yeah, I know. Yesterday I had a little, respiratory problems. Just trying to get used to the atmosphere after this weekend. Oh my God, this weekend was tough. 135, 140 pavement where I was staying, and that's for sure.
It was definitely a hot one. Yeah, they took it out of everybody. That's for sure. I apologize there for coughing in everyone's ear there.
That's all right.
No, the series this year races on some of America's iconic road courses. Road Atlanta, Watkins Glen, and then Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Obviously, is the road course there is a new iconic track, I guess you would put it. We also had a couple races at Virginia International Raceway and Pittsburgh Race Complex, which is a newer facility. It's a wonderful new place that they have just outside of Pittsburgh.
Yeah, how do you like that track now that they actually paved it the way they were going to when they were, first supposed to do it when they first opened up?
Yeah, the drivers seemed to love it. They really had a good response to it and really had a good time on the track. And the facility seemed very nice. They have a wonderful little go-kart track there that we all went over and played on that night. Had a good time. And it was a nice facility. They have garages built there, and the paddock's all paved up now. So
yeah, I never went out to run there when it was Beaver Run because I was so excited for the long course to be built, the way that it was going to go down that hill and back up the other side and the whole thing. And I never went out there because it's an 8-hour haul for us, and now it's looking more and more attractive.
It's actually, it wasn't that bad. Getting across Pennsylvania wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. It's pretty good interstate travel. It shouldn't be that big of a deal.
Oh, that's great. Hey, Dustin, can you stay on the line because we're going to do a couple of commercials here, and then we'll come back and we'll find out some more about the series.
Sounds great. I'll be here.
Okay, great. All right, we're back, and we're talking to Dustin Hodges of the Formula 1000 series. Dustin, I have a question for you. It's a pop quiz. I know everybody loves pop quizzes.
Oh, of course.
This is what my co-host and I used to do. But anyway, can you name this tune?
Or maybe the movie associated with it?
As a hint.
Oh no.
It starts with, let's see, I'll give you the grand.
Me on the spot here.
the first word is grand.
And I'll help you out, dude. The second one's
I'm
free.
just going to say Grand Prix.
Yeah. There you go, yeah.
It's the intermission music. Or actually, I think it's the beginning.
Yeah.
I hope that was going to be right.
Yeah, that's it. You got it. You win another 5 minutes on the air.
Oh, wonderful.
Okay, that's just something we play around with, and then we have another question before long. I'll have another pop quiz. Now who is going to be the top contender for the series this year, or is it a horse race?
It's looking like Alex Mayer is going to come out with the inaugural title. However, second place is a very, very close battle. Jason Slater and Tim Pierce are separated by only 9 points going into the final race. And then as well, our fourth and fifth battle for the Will Wood Tough Break Award for the end of the year is separated. Steve Hamilton and Charles Livingston are only separated by 1.5 points. So Alex does have a pretty commanding lead, and the way it's looking, if he shows up in Indy, he wins. So he went on a tear this year and won 8 in a row.
Jeez.
So after that kind of year, it's pretty hard to lose the championship.
I'm going to have to call him a snot-nosed kid because
I used to call him a kid, but he's not so much a kid anymore, I don't think, Bill. I think he's up in his 20s now.
He's in his 20s now, yeah.
Yeah, he's a talented driver, though, no doubt.
Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely. I was down with him down at VIR this year, and he was pumping iron down there, I'll tell you.
Yeah, he definitely has some speed under him. That's for sure. Yeah, it's interesting it's fun to watch him drive. That's for sure.
Yeah, he had a little downfall last year at the majors, but he bounced back. He had a little problem. I'm not going to really dwell on it because I really don't know much. Somebody took him out on like the third lap or something in the majors down.
That happens
down there. Yeah,
when you're pushing it on the edge.
Oh yeah. Well, with the field of cars too. I mean, it wasn't his. I don't know if it was. He was in a multiple class or something like that,
And that's the one that was one of the things with SCCA is they always had the multiple classes, kind of like endurance races, where you have 4 or 5 different classes mixed in there racing on the track together.
Right.
It has this year already. There was just this weekend at New Jersey on the start car, and I think a P1 or a P2 car that started behind Alex ran right into the back of him going into turn 1 at the green flag, and bent his wing up, all kind of messed up, and it still took off and was okay, but it's definitely a concern when you have different cars like that with different braking ratios and different speeds and things like that on the track together.
Right. You won't have that problem at Indy, though, will you?
No, hopefully not. At the runoffs, you get your own race. Is hopefully the goal anyway. There's a few classes from what I hear that may get combined due to not having enough car count, but we definitely are not going to be in that category. So, yeah,
Well, that's a long enough
all-day
track, too.
1,000 cars on track together.
Yeah, even if you did get, I imagine, mixed with someone else, they would split them up a little bit, and that's a long enough track where you could get most of the race in before you actually mixed it with the other traffic.
Absolutely, and that's the thing is, even when times look similar, the closing, the time where you make that time on the track can be so different, whether it be on the straightaway or the corner or the braking. And a lot of times that they see on the sheet, they combine classes because the times are so similar, and it would be better to put classes on that are further apart, because you would just pass them a little easier if you wouldn't get mixed in together.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's a good point.
This tire compound that you have, this American Racer, is that a new type of tire, or has it been around for a while?
It is. They came onto the scene this year with this tire, and they have developed a new tire for us every weekend, getting better and better with not only softness and durability, but also longevity and speed. And they've come with a tire that all the drivers have really kind of latched onto and really love. And like I said, it's also less expensive than any of the other tires that we can buy for these cars. Because not only do we get a faster tire, but we get a cheaper tire.
Hey, Dustin, where were those tires? Where did they come from? I mean, American Racer, I know that name. They've been around. So did they change hands, or is it a new rubber company that may have bought the name, or how'd that come about?
It is, and I'm not even sure if I'm supposed to say this or not, but it used to be McCreary.
Okay. Yeah, because they used to make circle track tires.
Indiana, Pennsylvania. But yeah, like I said, maybe I'll get in trouble for saying that. But
That's right.
Nah, you won't get in trouble. It's a race. This is a racing show.
With the three listeners, we don't have to worry about that. There's two of us and one in the booth.
Yeah, but I mean, I like the name American Racer. It looks really good on the side of the car and on the tires and on the videos and stuff. It's just American splashed on everything. Looks nice.
Now you have a spec for those tires. Like in one given weekend, you are only allowed to use one set of tires. Is that right?
We had originally the class was set on using 6 tires per weekend. So a couple weekends we've had the drive, because it was been either there was more testing allowed or different reasons, the drivers again came together and they voted to allow an extra 2 tires, so the drivers had a full 2 sets to use. But the goal is to try and limit the amount of tires to 6 tires per weekend, to where they can, that way again, to mitigate costs. So,
right.
And that's one of the things that Americans have been working with us, is to get tires that will last through a whole weekend, and just having to put on maybe 2 new ones on the hard loaded side of the car.
Okay, I was just going to ask you that. How do you figure out what tires to replace?
Well, it's on a lot of courses if it's a 14-turn course and 10 of the turns are right-hand corners, then most likely the left-hand side is going to get used a little more than the right-hand side.
Yeah, they're taking all the load.
You would want to, at some point in the middle of the weekend, you could take the right-hand side tires and put them on the left and put new ones on the other side.
Now this is up to 6.
Longevity.
This is up to 6 sets of tires, or
6 tires themselves.
but up to 6, or you have to use those 6.
No, you're not. You can use 4 if you don't want to use all 6. You don't have to. But it's 6 individual tires, not 6 sets.
Oh, okay.
So you basically and like I said, a couple weekends they did kind of pause that rule and allow the drivers to use 2 full sets of tires. So they had 8 tires for the weekend. For different reasons, the drivers wanted to do that. Like I said, one weekend we had a lot of testing on Thursday and Friday, so they wanted to do that.
Oh, okay.
But they're trying to keep it to where, because a lot of times drivers will go, and we see this a lot of time in pure SCCA majors competition, the drivers will put on brand new tires every time the car hits the track.
Right.
And when you go to like the runoffs and things like that, where you have drivers doing that, you're talking about going through 15, 20 sets of tires. That can get really expensive. And for people that have a 9-to-5 job and doing this as a hobby and out of their back pocket, sometimes they can't do that.
Right.
So it's one of the things that we've tried to eliminate by having that 6-tire rule or 8-tire rule.
And you have different compounds for different setups or anything else, or is it just a strictly hard tire or soft tire or something like that?
It's right now the tires we don't have most different choices they can have on the weekend, because again, with American being the first year, they're bringing us 1 tire and developing it through. Now they do have different tires that they've brought, and some guys have held over a set from previous weekends to use in testing. So there have been different tires on different weekends. But the tire that American's been bringing us has just been 1 tire, and it's not they're not bringing us a real hard tire that's trying to last for a really long time, but they're not bringing us one that's going to disappear in 3 or 4 laps either. So we don't have that go fast qualifying tire, but we don't have a spec hard season long tire either. We're looking for a tire that will last 3 or 4 sessions at real high speed, and then maybe give you another 4 or 5 sessions on a test day the following weekend.
Yeah, and we're talking about tires here too, because that's got to be the most expensive part of the race weekend. Aside from the cost of the car and the cost of an engine, your biggest consumable is probably tires.
Absolutely, that's the biggest thing that people say. It's hard to get away. That's why tire deals are one of the biggest things that people go for, and it's one of the biggest things that people complain about is that people, when you go to big long weekends where you have 3 or 4 qualifying sessions, you have to put on new tires all the time.
Right.
Try and keep that cost down.
Now, do you have a tech person that shows up at the series and goes through the scrutinization of the cars, or do you just leave it up to the series scrutinizers?
Well, right now, since we're running on SCCA weekends, the cars do go through SCCA Tech, so they are fully compliant with SCCA regulations, and SCCA does weigh the cars as they're coming through at the end of every event.
But you don't have anything of your caliber to do anything?
Oh, no, I don't personally have any tech involvement in the cars at the end of the race. No, we do have, if there was an issue with anyone believing that there was something going on that wasn't above board, that's on as in with most racing, it's on the drivers to protest a different car before there's any in-depth investigation to a car.
Right, okay. And these tires are shipped to the individual racers at their shops, or is it shipped to the track and then they divvy them up from there?
Usually they come to the track. Brad Betos from Primus Racing is our tire guy. He comes to all of our races and usually sells and mounts all of our tires for us. And they usually provide that. Some of the guys do like to have them mounted so they can put the cars on the scales at home on their set of race tires that they're actually going to run on. So every tire is a little bit different. So it's kind of a personal choice on whether or not you want to haul the tires from your house to the track, or if you want to let somebody else do it for you.
No, it's good that it's governed by the racers, the race teams, or whatever the case may be, because then you can you keep an eye on each other.
That keeps it fair and keeps it fun, Bill.
Yeah.
I think that's what Dustin was saying earlier about the social aspect of these races is just as important as the competition.
Yeah, you don't have Big Brother looking over your shoulder or anything else. It's each and every racer that, like I said, governs everybody else.
Absolutely, it's definitely one of those things. And there's really been no issues with. I mean, there's been zero issues with anyone with any kind of rule breaking or anything like that in this season at all. And that's one of the great things about not only SCCA competition, but most road racing that I've been involved with in my life is that the drivers seem to be, it's one of those things you can really live on an honor system, and you really don't have to worry about much. Occasionally there's been issues over the years with fuel and tires and things that you've had to clamp down on, but for the most part, I think guys really do try and stay above board.
Well, that's good. You govern yourselves, you police yourselves, you have fun.
I want to know if are your races at Indy or sessions at Indy going to be televised? Or going to be able to be seen anywhere live on the internet?
All of our races are broadcast live on our Facebook channel. I shoot all of our stuff live, and we have had a few issues over the Jersey weekend. My microphone, I don't know if it was the heat or the overnight rain, something. The audio on my mics for the live shot just dropped out completely.
Hey, what's that Facebook page again?
No audio.
What is that Facebook page again?
Our Facebook is, again, it's just Facebook.com/NAF1000.
Okay, and then you have...
Where you can search for North American Formula 1000.
And then is there a link on your other website, the NAF1000.com?
Yes, there is. You can see our full Facebook feed on our website at NAF1000.com. And you can also see, I do shoot, as well as shooting the live videos, I do shoot full videos in full 1080p HD that will be uploaded to YouTube as soon as I can get everything edited. It usually takes me about 3 or 4 days after the weekend to get a full video edited and uploaded.
What would I search?
That's available on YouTube, and our YouTube channel is North Am F1000.
North Am? So NORTHAM.
As in North American, North Am. AM.
North Am 1000.
Okay,
that'll
good.
work.
Yeah, I'm going to check it out, man.
That'll be great. Hey, Dustin, thank you for calling in and giving us some insight and answering a lot of our questions about the Formula 1000 series. It's a new series, and it's very interesting, and looks like a lot of fun.
They're great to watch too.
Oh
man.
yeah, they are. They are really
good drivers in that
really
group.
good. I know when my
Absolutely, guys. They are a blast to watch, and this is my first time interacting. The class has been around a while in amateur competition and SCCA. And this is my first season getting into the track and involved with them with this professional series they started, and I've been blown away by the cars. They're really amazing to see on track. And if anything, there's plenty of videos on all of our social media and clips, and the sounds are amazing. That's what I can't get over.
Oh, yeah.
The way how great these guys sound at 13,000 RPM at 170 miles an hour. It's amazing.
Yeah, you say they're cool to watch, on the track. They're even cool to look at up close and personal. They're so meticulously constructed.
Yeah, there's a lot of spit and polish. If I want to say that, it's not just something thrown together. It's a lot of technical, eye candy on there.
Oh yeah, there's if you're looking for something that you want to be able to play with and tinker with, definitely the car for you.
Yeah.
They're definitely not a spec car you just put fuel and tires in and go drive.
Right. Well, thank you very much, and good luck with the series, and good luck with everything you do. And
good luck at Indy too.
Indy, and don't be a stranger. In fact, I'm going to bug you a little shortly after the Indy to see what the results are, because we want to keep track of this series.
Absolutely, I appreciate it. I look forward to calling in soon.
Okay, great. All right, have a good run in Indy. Good luck.
All right, Dustin. Take care, man.
Thanks for having me.
All
Have a good
right,
night.
bye now.
Bye-bye.
That was pretty neat.
That's awesome.
I've been in contact with them for a while now. This season anyway, and I met Dustin this weekend. In fact, he was right next to where I was stationed. And we conversed a few times, and he was excited on when I offered to have him on the show.
Yeah, they had a real nice setup at the track too. They
yeah.
had that tent over there with all their awards underneath it, and it was really cool.
Yeah, they had a little ceremony every night, Okay. And one important thing we have to say is, if you're not having fun, you're probably doing it wrong. That's our motto for today and every day, because
That's a real good one.
that's a real good one. That is Jeff's famous. I keep Jeff alive around here, and that's the way we're going to do it. That's the quote. If you're not having fun, you're probably doing it wrong. Okay, I'll see.
Bill, I had fun. Thanks for having me in tonight.
Great. No, a lot of fun, a lot of interesting little talk going on, and the guest was informative. And the series, and good luck to everybody, and I'll see you a couple days. All right, thanks everybody. Talk to you next week.